Hi everybody, it's Catherine from In the Pink Designs. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, so the supplies that I use you can purchase from Stampin' Up! At the address at the top of the screen, and it's also linked below. So for my project today, I use the Happy Hedgehogs bundle. It's a stamp set and a punch. You can also use the punch without the stamp set. You can make it just as punch art if you wanted to. But together, you get a 10% discount for that. I also use the Gingham embossing folder for the background on the hedgehog. And that is this. It's a larger one. I use the rectangle stitch dies for the window. And the layering circle dies for over here. Along with some Highland Heather cardstock, and the paper is Pansy Petals DSP, Designer Series paper. Alright, so let me show you what we need. Alright, we need a piece of Highland Heather that is 9.5 by 8.5. A piece of basic white for stamping. We need a circle from soft Seafoam that is from layering circle dies that is about 1 7/8, and then I embossed it. I don't know if you can see. Let's see. There you go. I embossed it with the Gingham embossing folder. And then out of Highland Heather, I need the scallop circle that's just a little bit bigger. We need a window sheet that is 2.5 by 2. And then we need 3 pieces of the Pansy Petals DSP. 2 that are 4 3/4 by 2, and 1 that is 4 3/4 by 1.5. All right. Let's start with our 9.5 by 8.5 piece of DSP and our Simply Scored, and I'm going to put it on the 9.5 inch side first. Alright, and we're going to score this one at 2 1/4 and 7 1/4. And I'm going to switch it to the 8.5 inch side, and we're going to score it at 2 1/4, 4.5, and 6 3/4. Now I'm going to fold and burnish. Okay, so let me check. We have the 2 1/4 inch strips on the bottom. There's 3 of them. And then at the top, it's 1 3/4, okay? And the 2 side ones are 2 1/4, right? All right, so the smallest strip we're going to have at the top, all right? And this is what we're going to do. Okay, this side is a little funky just because we have to cut it small enough so that we can cut the window and it doesn't show. All right. Okay, so let's start on the bottom left. And what we're going to do is go to the first score line and cut up to the first score line. And then we're going to wedge each side of the square here, and then we're going to cut about 1/2 inch off. Okay, then we're going to leave this whole long rectangle alone, and we're going to go to the next score line, cut it straight up to the first score line, and then wedge each side of this square and take about 1/2 inch off the bottom. So that's what we did there. Alrighty, now we're going to turn it 180 so that what we cut is up at the top. Alright, now on the left hand side, we're going to go over to the first score line and cut straight to the second score line. Alright, so it's 1 and 2. Alright, we're going to get rid of this bottom one. And we're going to wedge this square here. Well, it might be a rectangle. It's kind of squarey. All right. right, and then we're going to cut this. I'm going to get a ruler. Okay, now for this here, we're going to leave, let me measure it. Yes, only 1/2 inch. All right, so from the score line down, we only want 1/2 inch. So just mark it with a pencil. And then we're going to cut off everything but that 1/2 inch. All right, and then that way, when we're putting our window in, we can attach this with some tear and tape right here, and the window will be next to it, so it won't show. All right, now we're going to go to the other side, and this side's much easier. We're going to go to the other side of these rectangles here and cut straight up to the second score line. We'll get rid of the bottom one. Wedge both sides of this. And then we're going to take about 1/2 inch off of that. All right. Now, we need the detail trio punch and the small piece here. These are 2 1/4. This is, I can't remember. I should write it down. This is 1 3/4. On the 1 3/4 inch wide piece, we want to round both of those edges. Okay, now we have to put one of the pieces of DSP on before we put it together. All right, so one of the pieces that is 4 3/4 by 2. You know, make sure that the smallest rectangle is on the top, the one that we rounded. And we're going to put this one on underneath that, okay? Because this is going to be the front. That's going to be right here. All right, and this is going to be the back flap. That is like this. I'm sorry, and inside are some chocolate foil eggs. All right, so this piece we have to put on before we cut our window. And I'm going to use Stampin' Seal because we want it not to squeeze the glue out and ruin the whole thing. And I'm going to put a whole bunch because I really want it to stick without moving once it's cut out. All right, so then let's just put this. It's got about 1/8 inch border all around. Okay, and then this, now you can do whatever window you want, or you can do no window and just have it like this and decorate a full front. But I'm using the stitched rectangle dies, and I need to put the window 5/8 inch away from the side. All right, so that's the cardstock side, okay? So that's right here. I'm just gonna put another little, it's much easier if you don't do the window, but I really love the window. Okay, that's 5/8 inch from the side of the cardstock, not the DSP. All right, and then I'm going to just put my, I'm going to put my die right over that mark and just center it, make sure there's about the same on the top and bottom of it. And then I'm going to put some low-tack tape on there. Get some new ones. Oops, moved. Okay, and then to make it not cut anything, we have to, so we can get it through, we have to put the sides back on top of it, okay? I'll be right back. Okay, and then I'm just going to unfold everything and pull off gently, and then you have your window. And you have a little piece you could use for another project, I guess. All right. Okay, now we can put it together. Well, actually, first let's put our window sheet. And the window sheet, I told you before, is 2 1/2 by 2, and I'm going to use some not dimensional, some glue dots and my take your pick tool. I'm just going to put them on the 4 corners and then one also on this very long side because it's long and I don't want anything to sneak out. Okay, and then we're just going to place it right over the back of the window. Okay. All right. Now we can get our tearing tape. And we're going to put, first let's start on this little piece here. I want you to put 2 pieces, one next to the score line and one next to the edge, just because it's small and I want it to give it extra staying power. All right, and then on the other ones, the same thing, one close to the score line and one close to the edge. Okay, then I'm going to get my take your pick tool and we're going to do this side first. And take the backings off. Okay, now let's start with this one, and we're going to take the score line and put it straight with the side that has our DSP. All right. Okay, and then if you look in there, it just makes it so that it doesn't show on the window. Okay. All right, and now this side, score line straight with the side of the rectangle. Okay, and just do the same thing on the other sides. Okay, and this is what we're left with. All right, now, I wouldn't put anything in when we're squeezing it or pinching it closed this time because we need it to go straight in, all right? So, we're going to put our pointer in the middle of the sides and then squeeze with the other fingers and then just bring it together gently. All right, and then just kind of help it along to go straight to the bottom if it hasn't already. And there's your box. Nice triangle box. Okay, so now let's put on the rest of our DSP with liquid glue. The other piece that is 4 3/4 by 2 and one for the flap. Now the one for the flap, decide which way is up and oopsie. We're going to round both sides of the long side of one of the sides so that it matches, there we go, matches the cardstock. Okay. I'm going to just use some liquid glue. Okay, and then on the back, the other piece that is 4 3/4 by 2. Okay, and we're not going to put on our Velcro to close it. Now you could also just tie a bow to close it if you wanted to. We're going to let this piece dry nicely so that it doesn't pull up. All right, and while that's drying, we're going to do our stamping. So we need our piece of basic white and some Tuxedo Black ink and the Hedgehog, this Hedgehog right here from Happy Hedgehogs. All right, so I'm just going to take this whole Hedgehog and put it on, and it is photopolymer, so put your Stampin' Pierce mat or a nice thick pad if you have it. This is kind of thick, so I guess it would have been fine. Okay. now we're going to color it with just two Stampin' blends. We're going to use light Crumb Cake and light Flirty Flamingo. And I'm just going to put a little bit of Flirty Flamingo in the ear. And then the whole rest we're just going to do with light Crumb Cake, because the nice detail on there makes that part look darker. Okay, and then the little feet too. You could put a cheek on here, but he looks kind of realistic as opposed to cartoony. So I'm just going to leave just the ear. All right. And then I'm going to use the Hedgehog Builder Punch. And now this has, let me get a piece of scrap. This has 4 pieces to it. It has the full hedgehog, the hedgehog's back, and then 2 little dots, one for the nose and one for the eye. So you could do this totally without doing the stamping too. All right. Okay, so now let's just cut out our hedgehog. I'm going to do the full one. Okay, I guess we could stamp it twice and then just kind of pop up the side, but I'm good with it in one. Okay, and then we need these two. Remember, this one is soft Seafoam that is 1 7/8, and I embossed it with the Gingham embossing folder. And then this is Highland Heather, it's just a little bigger. I'm just going to attach them with liquid glue. Okay, and then I'm just going to get some dimensionals for the hedgehog and put them right on the middle of the circle. Okay. Now this should be dry, so I'm going to get my adhesive Velcro dots. These are 3/8 inch. I got mine at Amazon. Sometimes you can find them in Walmart. I can't, so I have to order them online. All right, I want you to take one side and put it about 1/2 inch in on either side of the inside of the flap. And then put the other side with the adhesive facing out. All right, and then when you squeeze the box, make sure everything's nice and even. And then just give it a gentle push. Pull it up gently, and then really give it a good push on both sides of it. Okay. And then I'm going to put my hedgehog on. I'm just going to glue him on. And I'm just going to center him between the side of the window and the side of the DSP or box, either one. Then I'm going to put my eggs in. It fits quite a bit, so you could really put a whole bunch of different things in here. So if you don't want to use half your bag of eggs in one, you can add in some other ones. Okay, now I'm going to use some Highland Heather Grosgrain ribbon. I'm going to make a little bow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a loop with my finger and then go back over the back and then loop it in there. And I'm just going to fiddle with it until I get a nice small bow that I like. Okay. And then I'm just going to use my fabric scissors to cut it. then I'm going to put 2 glue dots on the back. Now that side's good. I'm just going to put 2 on here. Well, maybe 3, just to make it, it'll fit it, and just to make sure it really sticks. Okay, then I'm just going to place it right above the side of the scallop circle there. Okay, and then I still need those glue dots. And then for our final touch, we're going to use some loose flower flourishes, some of the fresh freesia ones, and I'm going to put 1 big one and 2 little ones over by the window, and then 1 little one for the hedgehogs, back of his ear. Okay, I'm just going to use the sticky part of my take your pick tool to pick them up and then put them down onto the glue dot. Okay, really give them a good push on, and then I'm going to use the pointy end, and I'm going to put the big one down here right by the corner. Whoops. Corner of the box, like right here. And I'll take one of the little guys, put it up over here, and then one of them up right there, and then the last little one right behind the hedgehog's ear. I'm just going to move this glue dot a little bit. There we go. Right, like that. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, my email is below, or you can leave them in the comments. And if you need any Stampin' Up! Supplies, I would love it if you would shop on my website. It's linked below, and it's written above. And I would love it if you would subscribe and hit the like button. And that's it. Have a great weekend, and I will might see you Monday, but probably Tuesday because I have a busy weekend, so I'm not sure I can get to it. But I will do 3 next week. It just might, one of them might be late. Okay, I will see you next time. Bye.